to be on the Invincible.
That was lit. This man right here is a bad man.
We can do some damage on some churros down there.
Yeah!
Welcome back to Invincible, the show where we tell the stories of the plays, the players, and the pursuit of becoming invincible both on and off the field. My name is Vince Wolfram, and week 5 of college football is what we're talking this week. Straight football, and that's what it is. You saw the agenda for this week in college football, and you had the same reaction that Canyon Sheeran and I both did. Oh my goodness. So many ranked games, so many fantastic matchups from coast to coast. This week had it all. And the plenty of expectations, I think, this week got reshuffled. So many ranked matchups means so many teams win and so many teams lose, right? Canyon, tons of great games this weekend. I know on Friday you were probably ready to burst for Saturday and the amount of great games on the schedule.
Yeah, this is one of those weeks where you just kind of look forward to. I think we've been counting down the days for this weekend since the offseason, right? We look ahead. We like to say we don't look ahead to the future or the future schedules, but we've been thinking about this weekend for a while. And dude, it certainly lived up to the hype and the metrics, and I was certainly impressed and loving it. And I had to get my Dutch Bros on Saturday, per usual. The one man stop. I had to get my Dutch Bros. I had to get my Golden Eagle. I used to think getting the Golden Eagle was good luck for my Auburn Tigers, but the Auburn Tigers need more than just luck right now. So, but we'll talk about that eventually in due time. It was a beautiful day of college football, and I would be lying if I said I did not fall asleep at the ending of 2 major games. But rest assured, I did go back and watch them for you guys. So there's the update for me.
See, come on. And good thing we had a good slate of games on Saturday, because our good friends down at Florida State, they set it off for us on Friday. They gave us a good one on Friday night in Scott Stadium, number 8 Florida State versus Virginia. And UVA drew 50,000 fans, largest crowd in a couple of years, and everybody's seen it at this point. They stormed the field like an enthusiastic group of Kentucky Derby horses. Like, that was the quickest field rush I have ever seen. Could you say the same?
Yeah, it was like that field was designed for it to have field rushes. I don't know what the concept is. The hill
is crazy.
Lined up in that. Like the way that stadium's designed, it's designed for UVA to upset your favorite football team and then to rush the field after. That's what it felt like. I was watching those clips, and I mean, prayers up to that Florida State player. I mean, he just got trampled. But some of the UVA player, like there was no shame in their game. They said, "Field rush, I'm here," which is great. I mean, field rushes are great for college football. I hate that we fine teams for doing field rushes because it's a once in a lifetime memory. I don't know why we take that away from the fans. The fans always support. So it's the one chance for the fan to be able to truly feel equal, I guess, in an extent, to be able to celebrate with the players and to get out there. So I think that's really cool and really great for college football.
It was funny too. I thought that they said there was 50,000 fans in attendance and they got fined $50,000. It was like $1 every fan that rushed the field. I thought that was just pretty coincidentally funny.
Yeah, that's the thing, bro. Like the field rush fines are just such a joke that they
give
don't
me the
actually
dollar
hurt the
every
program.
single time.
Yeah, they're gonna pay the money every single time, especially for a program win like that with Tony Elliott and that staff who's been searching for a quarterback, searching for that win. Right, that program has been bad for a few years, but they had some years of highlights in the late 2010s. They had some years of success. So I think they've been just trying to get back to that term. And for 50,000 people to show up to a UVA team that was 4-1, had already lost a game and didn't have much hope, and for them to come out and win that game, I mean, dude, what a game! What an impressive environment. And I think Florida State fans contributed to that 50,000 too, because there was a good chunk of Florida State fans there. When Florida State was making a play, you could hear their fans. But at the end of the day, man, that double overtime thriller and UVA squunk it out. I was looking at the stats in this game, and I was kind of trying to figure out where the difference maker really was. And to be fair, they're really similar, right? UVA had 27 first downs. Florida State had 24. UVA was a little bit more efficient on third down and more efficient on fourth down. And usually, if you can be more efficient on those game-changing downs, they usually result in a win. Both teams averaged over 4 yards a carry on the ground, so that's huge. That means the running running offense was working. And for UVA, they threw 3 interceptions and still found a way to win, right? That's crazy. To be fair, though, what helped them that is they forced some turnovers too. It was an even turnover battle game, both having 3, which is good because if you even out the turnover battle, you even out the game, right? It's like what's happening on the field. If you have an even turnover battle, it can go in a flip-flop way. So it did end up that way, and obviously game-ending interception for Castellanos. That's why they almost made the comeback because they did have the win in the turnover battle for a while, right? So that's why it looked like Florida State may come back and win this game, and then obviously, that catch where he bobbled and and that's just a tough break. But he was like a DJ set with the football. Okay, he was just, he was pumping it up, and just a hell of a game, and I really enjoyed watching this game on a Friday night.
Totally. I thought it was a good tip your hat win to Virginia. Obviously, like you mentioned, a program kind of struggling in the last couple of years. I think they're looking like the most improved team in the ACC, right over 30 transfers on this team. Chandler Morris, the quarterback, being the main one. And like you mentioned, the discrepancies in this game were kind of hard to find, right? Like both teams have over 415 yards. That's a high-powered football game. Rushing and red zone perspective, Florida State 256 yards on the ground. Virginia had over 200. Virginia 5 for 5 in the red zone. Florida State was 6 for 7. This was a very, very good football game. So for me, it was Virginia's run game kind of was the difference after halftime, and what it did to help the Cavaliers kind of control the clock from there. But Virginia, I know this was a Friday night game. They picked up their most significant win in program history since the 2019 regular season ender against Virginia Tech. I thought just a couple of years ago, but certainly a big one for Virginia. Any more on this one before we head into the real Saturday slate?
No, but I will pat myself on the back because I told Florida State fans time and time again that you guys were getting ranked too high in your rankings, and I kept you low ranked in the TND poll for a reason. And a lot of you guys complained, and to my complaint, I would say a lot of you guys don't know ball. A lot of you guys also said this wasn't a trap game, and this was the definition of a trap game. Okay, I like to call trap games it's smelly. It's stinky. This game was smelly, man. Okay, this game was as Cam Ward would say, this game was stinky. And it was a trap game. And Florida State fans, I'm accepting written apologies. It needs to be handwritten. I'm not accepting them through DMs. They need to be a handwritten. And you may DM me an apology statement for trying to keep you in a reality check because you guys were on cloud 9 for beating an Alabama team that was missing their starting running back and Tim Keenan, which clearly, if those two players are playing, Alabama's a different ball team. But that's a combo for a different day.
Totally.
That's all I had. That's all I had.
For Virginia, just one more quick thing. Tony Elliott, I think, might have earned another additional year onto his contract heading into next season. So a great win for Virginia. Who knows where Florida State goes from here? A big game this week. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. The biggest game of the night. 7:30 games, plenty of those, right? This one on ABC, heading up to Happy Valley. A top 6 matchup between the Oregon Ducks and the Penn State Nittany Lions. And for Penn State, I think my word of the day for them is just vexing. It's just heartbreaking. They seem to constantly be in this pattern of hopes building, hopes crushed. And that's exactly the case in this one. But instead of starting with Penn State, let's start with the winning team because I thought Oregon made a pretty good statement, especially in this game, right? Like Penn State was being booed off the field. And I think that was more credit to Oregon than maybe people are giving them credit for. Dante Moore is the real deal. He is unflappable. Like he was very focused. He strikes me as a player that is mature beyond his years mentally, and he knows what he has to do on every play. He's very in the know. It felt as if when he had the ball under center, he knew what he had to do to advance the offense, to get a first down, to make it a manageable third down. He just makes very, very smart choices, makes the smart play, not just the available play, is what I'm trying to say. 29 for 39, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, 35 yards rushing. Very smart in choosing when to run and when to not. And when he chose to run was important. Got him big gains when he needed him. He was efficient passing the ball. Didn't shrink in the moment. We'll talk about Drew Allar in a second. But no, of the quarterback battle, Dante Moore, a massive step up, I thought, in this one.
Yeah, for me, though, I thought this game was won in the trenches and defensively. Tosh Lupo, their defensive coordinator, he's an Alabama branch. If you guys didn't know, he was on the Alabama staff when Nick Saban was there. And he's kind of this DC that went off to the NFL, took an upgrade, and then I think he realized he likes coaching college ball a little bit more, so he came back to the college football level, and he's been phenomenal there. And yeah, for Penn State, man, I would say I told you so, but I kind of told you so once again. Penn State dropped in my personal rankings, and I just have not seen anything from that offense that impressed me. But that is the problem with Penn State and their out-of-conference scheduling. Penn State does not buck up to the moment because when you play a team like Villanova, FIU, and Nevada, you're not actually getting these reps, right? Like Oregon may not have played the toughest team in the world, but they did play a good Power 5 program in Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy, right? Like, and they depleted them. But they held Penn State to under 276 yards. And Penn State had 139 yards on the ground and averaged 4 yards a rush. But for Penn State, that's a low number, right? Like that's a running back tandem and Katron and Nick Singleton. That's really, really good. I think Dante Moore looked really good. Statistically, when you look at these games, this is one of those games where third down, fourth down efficiency, they were all pretty similar. In fact, actually, Penn State was more efficient on fourth down and third down than Oregon was. But Drew Allar, some people are built for it and some people aren't. And every time Drew Allar stepped into one of those big moments, I feel like he's kind of crumbled. And it's sad because, you want to see a young kid do well. You don't want to prey on his downfall. But Drew Allar, I don't know what the problem is there. If it's a lack of receiver talent, a lack of play calling. I think it's a play calling issue. I think Penn State's offense is still stuck in the past, very much so. They refuse to make a change, which at the end of the day, when you refuse to make a change, that comes down to the head coach. It's a James Franklin issue at this point, because at this point, James Franklin is hiring offensive coordinators that aren't innovative, that are old-style guys that are not what he needs, which makes no sense because he went and got Jim Knowles to stop the air raid defensively, so why did he not bring the air raid in offensively? That's what kind of it confuses me with James Franklin sometimes. He's a really good coach, and I want to see him do well, but he's got to make better decisions than that. You can't bring in a guy to stop the air raid and then not realize that the air raid is what you just need to run more of. Obviously, they're trying to play to their strengths. Their two running backs are really talented, but you've got to find more innovative ways to play football.
Penn State, in my opinion, has more supplies than they do weapons. I didn't see as many weapons as I might have expected to, or as the expectations had built themselves up to for us to believe, right? Like I thought they were going to come out with some fire, and I thought they had everything they need. A whiteout at home at night. 111,015 fans, I think the number was. Drew Allar, who's this 5-star guy you're hoping can be the guy for your program. When are we going to see that next level that people are talking about? Not only him, but Penn State hitting. They hope to get there, but what big game has the quarterback won for them? I'm not saying he can't, because he can. He's a talented player, but sometime it's got to show, right? It hasn't shown in the critical moments. It hasn't shown in the critical games. Against ranked teams, he's 4-7, a 54% completion percentage, 163.5 yards per game, and a 16-6 touchdown versus interception ratio. Against unranked teams, he's 22-0, 68% completions, 225 yards per, and a 39-6 touchdown to interception ratio. Like there is a glaring difference between when they play a good opponent and when they don't. And in this game, it felt like 3 different games crammed all into one. The first half was all defense. The third quarter was Oregon's offense kind of getting nasty. And then the fourth quarter was Penn State clawing back in an attempt to come back and win this game. Because, Penn State was booed off the field when Oregon was winning early in the second half, a 3-and-out. They had 2 quick incompletions. They threw the ball for 1 yard. You're hearing Fire Franklin chants. They're down 17-10 with 7 minutes to play. And an offense that had managed just 180 yards to that point takes it all the way down the field. It scores, sends it to overtime. And first overtime, once again, one of those you have what you want situations. Oregon in your end zone in front of the student section. Like, from a very practical perspective, I'm sure that is awfully distracting. Like, I'm sure the white helmets blend in, right? You would think it would be tougher.
Yeah, I do see that. My problem with Penn State, you mentioned all those Drew Allar stats. By the way, Drew Allar is 0-6 versus teams ranked inside the top 6. Never been able to beat one. But my question from this game, it really left me scratching my head, because if it wasn't going to be yesterday, when
they don't
is
have
it
any
going to
other
be for
chances.
Penn State?
Indiana?
Because that's whiteout. That's whiteout night. That's one of the best environments in college football. And Dan Lanning threw some shots. He said that crowd is worth 7 points. It wasn't worth 7 points last night. And you know what the reason is? You know why it wasn't worth 7 points last night? It's because that offense you trot out there every day. That offense is horrible. Nobody wants to watch that offense. Like your defense, yeah, we love a gritty, nitty-gritty first half. I love the first half football. I thought that was two good defense going head-to-head, right? But then when you don't see adjustments at halftime and you don't see what you need to see, if not now, when? And I think that's why Penn State fans are left shaking their head. And in my opinion, Penn State's dropping outside of my top 10. I don't understand why they're still in the top 10 in the AP poll. What, we're rewarding them for beating Villanova, the School of the Deaf and the Blind, and FIU? Like, come on, man. So I'm moving on from that, but yeah, that was just you threw out some really good stats on Drew Allar and such, but that was kind of my take on the game. If it wasn't going to be last night, when it wasn't going to be, and I think I don't have the answer to that one. I don't think anybody does either.
No, I don't think either, and I think that's what's probably the most frustrating part, right, for Nittany Lions fans. They're in this cycle of this happening over and over and over again, and the stat I know they've all been hearing, echoing in their minds as they go to sleep every night, is that 2-21 record for James Franklin against AP top 6 teams since he became the head coach. 15 straight losses in those games. Certainly a tough stretch for Penn State. That was a great game, but I think it was tied with another game down south in Athens, Georgia, for the best game of the night. Let's head there, because number 17 Alabama at number 5 Georgia, in my opinion, was another classic added to the history of this game. And it was led by a guy, Ty Simpson, who you were awfully high on the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I love Ty Simpson. Shout out Ty Simpson.
Straight up. I love Ty Simpson.
Be honest, I love Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson has been rocking with TND since TND was on Elite College Football. Ty Simpson is a real OG. We love Ty. One of the nicest kids. He had a beautiful moment with his mom after the game. Just love Ty Simpson and all that he's been able to do after being kind of thrown to the woodshed after week 1, right? They kind of all this slander on him. But yeah, talking about Alabama, Georgia, I mean, Georgia played really, 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 really bad. Like, I was watching the game and I was like, dang, I feel like Georgia's playing bad. But when you look at the box score, I mean, they were 2 for 8 on 3rd down, 0 for 1 on 4th down. The only thing they did really, really good was they ran the ball for 7 yards a carry. If you have 7 yards a carry, you should usually win a football game. But when your offense is that bad on 3rd down, you're not going to win a football game. They lost time of possession. They lost the turnover battle. Can't turn the ball over. And I think that was kind of where it came down to. And also Alabama, man, they've got Tim Keenan and Jam Miller back, dude. That's a fun team to watch when they have those two guys back. Tim Keenan is arguably, well, he's not the best because Caleb Downs is the best defender in college football, so let me tread lightly there. But he's probably one of the best interior defensive linemen in college football, if not the best interior defensive lineman. He's a captain on that team for a reason. He's a good voice of reason for that defense, and I was really impressed with what Alabama was able to do. But also I was really disappointed in Georgia. I think it was a game where it was like, you know, you only beat Tennessee because of a miracle, and then you come home and the environment is what it is, and you have a chance to beat Bama. But I don't know what Nick Saban, not Nick Saban, excuse me. I don't know what Kirby Smart sees when he plays Alabama, but it's clearly nightmares. That's what I would say. It's nightmares. Yeah. He does not want to play Bama.
No, certainly not. That record, I think, is Georgia's. I mean, really struggled with Alabama since 2017. Georgia is 1-7 versus Bama, and the interesting stats I saw were the comparison stats to Bama games versus non-Bama games. Georgia's allowed over 31 points and 440 yards in those 8 games against Bama since 2017. And it's even less than half of those numbers against every other opponent that they've played since 2017. 15 points per opponent in those games, 288 yards per. So there's obviously a discrepancy similar to Penn State against ranked teams. But for me, the difference in this game was 3rd down conversions. Alabama was 13 of 19 on 3rd down, which is ridiculous. Might I add, Georgia 2 for 8. Simpson, he's yet to turn the ball over. Obviously extremely confident, and that exudes when he was in the flow state as early in the game as he was. He had as many completions in the first quarter of last night's game as he did in the last 2 games combined. So he was rolling. 24 of 38, 276, and 2 touchdowns. Alabama didn't score a point in the second half. They didn't need to. It's the first time they haven't scored a point in the second half in over 10 years. And its 10th win in its last 11 versus Georgia. Bama, it felt like Bama just had the answers in this game. You felt they were in control. Bama's defense, I thought, to the run game point you made about Georgia, I think that's what they forced Kirby to do, was just run the ball. And UGA couldn't stop Bama in the need to have it situations, and that was the difference. And Georgia had chances. Zachariah Branch had a wide open touchdown that he let fall right through his hands. I thought Georgia beat themselves a little bit, which is rare that we see that from this team. And a play don't care who makes it, right? So, and that was like the case I felt multiple times in this one.
Yeah, not rare for Georgia to beat themselves when they're playing Alabama. I don't know what the science is behind that. Against everyone else, they don't know how to beat themselves. But against Alabama, for some reason, they know how to beat themselves. But yeah, hell of a game. And I thought just, that Ryan Williams dropped touchdown pass early on. I thought, wow, you cannot throw a better ball than that if you're Ty Simpson. He put the bread in the basket, quite literally. And then to drop that, I was like, ooh, Alabama might be cooked. But guess what? They responded. And they didn't hold their head on that. They kept going. They moved on. Next play, 1-0 mentality. And shout out Alabama. That was a really, really, really impressive win. Georgia fans, I would be worried if I was you. I don't know if you guys have the identity you're used to having, and your identity is usually found in your defense. But I don't think your defense has an identity yet, or they've yet to find it.
I was glad to see these teams back at what full steam ahead, just crushing each other on the own defensive lines too. I thought that was good to get that energy back. Let's stay in the SEC though, because another top 15 matchup. Number 4 LSU and Brian Kelly at number 13 Ole Miss. This was a big one, 114th Magnolia Bowl. First time both teams had entered this game undefeated since 1959. I don't know what else has happened in 1959, but it's been a minute. This one was interesting too. 17-7 at halftime. Ole Miss, I thought, impressed in this one. And I know we'll talk about the quarterback play, but that was the big one. What did you see from LSU? Because I was surprised at kind of how they faltered throughout this game.
Yeah, for LSU, really, really bad at running the football. We talked about that after the Clemson game, I think, especially, right? So you can't be that bad at running the football. And then for them to be 2 for 11 on third down and only have 16 first downs when Ole Miss had 28 first downs, right? You look at the disparity there. You can't go 2 for 11 on third down. Garrett Nussmeier looks like he's not comfortable in the pocket. It looks like that offensive line that we thought was going to be so amazing because of the way they showed up against Clemson, that maybe the Clemson D front was just a little overrated, right? Because that starting front is still really, really good for Clemson, a bunch of NFL guys. But we saw Ole Miss rotate, have depth on the D line, and that they made that O line look bad. And obviously for LSU, I mean, dude, they won the turnover battle and they still lost by 5 points. And you know why they still lost? Because they were 2 for 11 on third down. They couldn't get the passing game going. They averaged 2.1 yards per carry. Do you know how bad that is?
Very bad. Not good.
That takes 5 downs of football to get a first down. 5. You only get 3 in reality. Sometimes you get 4. Okay, I'm breaking this down for you guys in simplest terms. Okay, 2 times 2. Yeah, I just cannot believe that was that bad for their rushing offense. But yeah, overall they just looked lackluster. Trinidad Chambliss, though, what a dog, right? I'd be reminiscent if I don't hype up what Ole Miss has been able to do. Lane Kiffin, masterclass. Lane Kiffin's a damn good coach, and the way they were able to close that game down after the error of the quarterback going out of bounds to go get the first down to still win the game comfortably and not give LSU a chance to get the ball back and go score. Just an impressive game and an impressive win for Ole Miss and the Rebels. For LSU, though, Brian Kelly's going to have to answer some hard-hitting questions at media days come Monday because their defense looked good, but still was not as good as it needed to be. They gave up a lot of yards, 484 yards, and their offensive line did not look up to the par. So Brian Kelly will have some questions to answer this coming Monday.
Amen to that. Yeah, Ole Miss starts the season 5-0 for the first time since 2022. First win against a top 5 ranked LSU team since 1965. And for me, LSU has completely lost their identity in running the football under Brian Kelly, something that you didn't see from Kelly in his years at Notre Dame, even his years at Cincinnati. He was always focused on running the ball to the point where you're like, what in the world? Like, where is the running game? 6:13 left on the clock. You got a 3rd and 1. You got absolutely stuffed. You go for it on 4th down. You get a penalty. You get pushed back. It's like their chances to run the ball just they threw it on that play, didn't get it. It's like their trust in running the ball was not there. And if you're not going to run it, Nussmeier has to really, really step up and make more plays. But how can he play when the game's really on the line? Like, you're 2 for 11 on third down, like you mentioned. He hasn't stepped up in those areas. And I think we've seen that. This is, I think, a recurring problem we've seen in the returning quarterbacks in the SEC. They've been struggling here a bit this season with that very thing, right? You don't want LSU to waste the great defense. With this offense that you have a lot of weapons, but you're not using them. Nussmeier didn't come up to play to the plate as well as I thought he would. 21 of 34, 197 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. I don't think LSU is that much different than a lot of the teams in the SEC. I think there's defensive hope at LSU. Their defense is very good, but are they that much different than Florida? I really don't know. A quarterback that comes back highly esteemed with great hopes for a very good season and a defense that's solid. I don't see the difference too much between LSU and some other SEC teams. They're going to have to figure it out. And for Ole Miss, I think starting the season undefeated is big going into further SEC play. Trinidad Chambliss, I'll speak to it later, but 23 of 39, 314 yards, 1 touchdown, an interception, 74 rush yards as well. He protects the football. He was being dynamic in the off-schedule plays, the plays where randomness happens. I thought he really, really stepped up. A true threat in the +1 run game. Adds another dimension to this Ole Miss offense. And absolutely, I thought Trinidad won the quarterback battle between these two teams. Any thoughts before we go to our next game in SEC play to put the bow on this LSU Ole Miss game?
No, all I know is I've got a great co-host, because what you guys didn't just see is I went to the bathroom, but you had no clue because my co-host is an OG and just kept talking for me. My thoughts on this were just LSU did not impress me. I'm going to drop them outside of my top 10 personally. Really disappointed. And kudos to Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is a good team, but yeah, LSU's got to move. Their Clemson win is getting less impressive by the day, and they're going to have to move for me because I was really high on them, but that offense looks lost. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, let's go to another lost offense. Auburn at number 9.
That's not lost. No, that's not lost. That's like forgotten. Let's get this
That's
terminology
just a done
right.
offense. Can we call it done? Let's just call the offense
doesn't
done.
even exist for Auburn. Offense. There's offense. They play offense. I only saw defense. I don't think they play offense. Actually,
they do not play offense.
They don't play offense. They practice. Practice? You think you got time for practice?
No, Alan, they have not been practicing offense, Mr. Iverson. They have
clearly not. But golly, sheesh.
I mean, let's just break this one down for how it is. 155 yards of total offense. I think the JV team might have done better than that. 1 yard in the fourth quarter. Auburn, you just have way too many resources to have this be the outcome, have this be their performance. Undisciplined, I think, is the word I would attach to it. Just a lot of penalties, a lot of mistakes, a lot of chances you have, and you made it. Oh, there's a holding, or there's this, or there's that. There's stuff that there's things to pull you right back, to yank you right back. It's like a bad kid when you're getting on the bus who wants to get on before you, pulls on your backpack, can't get on. He gets on in front of you. That's the kind of thing I feel with this Auburn team, and it's so frustrating for Auburn fans. Like, you have a fantastic defense, which I know you'll talk about in just a second, but the Auburn didn't convert a single third down on 12 tries at A&M. Like, is miserable the way to put it? I feel like that's probably how most of the Auburn faithful felt watching this game.
Yeah, dude, I think that what I just watched from Auburn offensively, like, nobody on the defense is not slander to anybody on the defense. I watched the most uninspired, uncoached team I think I've watched play offense in a long time. And the problem with Auburn is this is not just like, oh, it's a this week problem. This has been a contingent problem throughout the whole Hugh Freeze era. Hugh Freeze is an offensive-minded head coach, and somehow the unit we put on the field offensively is the worst unit we put on the field. I don't understand it. I don't get it, right? And it's like, you need to make a change. We fired Gus Malzahn after a win. Sorry, not we. I'm an Auburn alum. Sometimes I make mistakes and say words I shouldn't say. Auburn fired Gus Malzahn after a win. The fact Hugh Freeze got on that tarmac and still has the job, I don't know what the big boosters see from Hugh Freeze, but it's nothing good. Like, if you guys are not tired of watching those uninspired, unmotivated, uncoached offense you've ever seen, then make a damn change, right? Like, it's like Auburn is way too invested. They got a new deal with Nike. They're one of the most high paid Nike schools now. They're changing, right? Everybody knows how big of a brand Auburn is, and everybody knows that Auburn can get there under the right coach. And I don't know what the answer is. Maybe the answer is bringing Gus back, right? Maybe that is the answer. Maybe giving him a shot. What he's doing at Florida State, he looks like he still knows how to coach ball, and he looks like he knows how to make changes. Right. So I don't know what the answer is for Auburn, but shout out their defense and DJ Durkin. That was an amazing showcase of a team that was motivated and clearly well coached. It's crazy how it's a complete 180 from one side to the other. Right. It's a 360, but 180 of it is amazing and 180 is bad. And when their head coach is the reason why it's bad, there's a massive problem. I think Hugh Freeze has got to go. My first phone call is to John Summerall down at Tulane and saying, hey, buddy, we got a job opening up here. We like what you do. We see because what he's been able to do after getting his star quarterback that he developed and found taken by Duke, what he's been able to do, they're still 5-0. I think they're winning ball games. Go call up John Summerall. It's an easy phone call, right? Like stop trying to go get the big name, the splash hire. Stop trying to go get an old guy. I'm saying it. I'm being ageist. Stop hiring old coaches that have proven to fail. Why do we do this in college football? It's everybody's favorite team. We all do it. Why? Why not go hire the young, innovative mind? Make a phone call to Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator at Baylor. Like, there's phone calls to make that Auburn's not making that make no sense to me. Hugh Freeze was never the right hire, and Auburn knew it wasn't the right hire because of the fact that his buyout. Look at his buyout. It's nothing. It's crisp. It's cheap. It's potato skins to what Auburn can afford, right? So it's like. So I don't really even want to talk about this game any further. It's fire Hugh Freeze till it's backwards for me. I'm glad Auburn lost this game because that's one greater chance that I don't have to watch Hugh Freeze coach an Auburn football team next year. So I'm glad Auburn lost, actually. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I'm going to give you the mono shot on that one and just let you rip. First time Auburn has gone third down percentage of 0% since 2006, which was, for you math people out there, 19 years ago. Tigers punted 9 times on Saturday. They punted 9 times. 5 sacks. Brutal. Tigers 3 for 27 on third down over the last 2 weeks. If that doesn't tell you the story, I don't know what does. For A&M, Le'Veon Moss ran for a career 139 yards and a touchdown. Proved to 4-0 for the first time since 2016. A&M's offense, I thought, struggled at times, but defense did, I guess, the bare minimum. I thought the A&M defense probably could have just stayed at the hotel, and they probably still would have outscored Auburn.
Hey, you know what's pretty funny though? So like A&M's defense really legit, right? So what A&M did is they were having defensive issues. So look, Auburn, any Auburn rich people watching, so listen. So they were having defensive issues, right? So guess what they did? They went and hired a defensive-minded head coach. Wow.
Mr. Elko, hi.
They went and got Mr. Elko, a defensive-minded guy who actually showed he could rebuild a program and not just. I rest my case. I'm done. But I'm just so annoyed with the Auburn boosters are delusional. You guys have always been delusional, and that's all I got to say to you guys. You guys didn't give me any scholarships, so I actually don't like you guys. I'm joking.
I think Mike Elko was a little right when he said we'd won 2 games without playing our best football. I think there's a lot of good still to come with A&M. They have to finish drives, play cleaner going forward. 13 penalties for, I think, 119, 120 yards, something like that on Saturday. So clean that up just a little bit too. The last game that we'll touch on here, we'll break it down.
One last thing on the A&M game. Marcel Reed has got to get better at throwing the deep ball if they really want to take the next step. If Marcel Reed can do that, A&M can do good things. A&M fans, sorry, I need to hype up your win a little bit. I just more was hitting on Auburn. Great win for you guys. Kyle Field was rocking. Excellent environment. I think that was one of the loudest environments of the day. I think it was louder in Kyle Field than it was for the Penn State wideout. Not even a hot take. I think from watching the 2 games, I think Kyle Field was the loudest environment in college football on Saturday, and that's a credit to a diehard fan base. But yeah, they got to figure out that offense. But guess what? You only need a palatable offense when your defense is that good. Unfortunately for Auburn, their offense is not even palatable. So, yeah.
It's the way you didn't even blink when you said that was crazy. Have you ever been to Kyle Field? That's a stadium I want to get to because it looks ratty.
I was going to go this weekend, but the stadium is
made
really
a good
cool.
choice not to. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, the stadium is really cool, but I'm not a big fan of College Station. Okay. So, but
everybody's got the cereal they like best.
Yeah, and College Station just definitely ain't my cup of tea. But shout out College Station. They show up and they show out for their sports teams.
Real talk. I heard Stanford Steve saying that he was at the Penn State game this week, and he said last week Tennessee, Georgia was a little better environment. And from the vibes, obviously I've never experienced it in my own livelihood, but 1-2 one day. Penn State might just be the whiteout. Insane. Looks dope. Looks so cool on television. But in person, I think there's probably some other deep down south rivalries that probably have some more flame. One of which might have to do with cowbells, because Tennessee, number 15 Tennessee, played at Mississippi State. I wasn't able to catch much of this one. I know you did. I saw Tennessee down late in this one, but made a fourth quarter comeback and eventually was able to string it out in overtime.
Yeah, Tennessee did what they needed to do. They lost the turnover battle, they lost time possession, and they somehow found a way to win the game. When you can do that, hell of a program, hell of a win. Heupel and Mississippi State kind of had this one. Tennessee went on a late drive. Joey Aguilar started to put it together. He did have 2 turnovers yesterday, excuse me. But they did what they needed to do. They found a way to win. I think this one's got to be short. Mississippi State, though, I think we'd be doing a discredit if we don't shout out what Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby are doing. Tennessee, though, if they really want to be a serious program this year, they're going to have to fix that defense, and they're going to have to fix that defense fast, because they are clearly missing some guys defensively, and in terms of dog status defensively, that can elevate them to the next level. But, yeah, they got to get better defensively. But once they do that, I think Tennessee will be cooking with gasoline, baby.
There you go. We love cooking with gasoline. Let's head into the poll patrol. Your fast pass through the top 25. I'm taking odds. You're taking evens. A weird week because there's so many rankings, so we're going to laugh our way right through this one. I'll start number 1. Ohio State went to Seattle and pulled out a win with 10 fourth quarter points against Washington, 24-6. 123 more yards of offense for Ohio State, and a stout defensive effort helped the Buckeyes hold off Washington. And they only scored field goals in front of their home crowd. That's pretty demoralizing. So Ohio State, a good win across the coast in Big Ten? Oh, yeah, Big Ten matchup. God, I hate that.
Miami was on a bye, so we're skipping Miami.
Yep.
You've got
number 3, Penn State at home. We know that whiteout game. Oregon offense. I mean, Penn State, I don't know. They basically get a quick bye week trip next week when they go to LA, when they go play UCLA. That's basically a bye week, right?
I'm a little disappointed in them. I thought they had this one this time.
Yeah,
I actually wanted them to win. People think I hate Penn State, and I actually wanted them to win. I think whiteout's a really special environment. I think it's great for the sport, but they lost. LSU, Ole Miss. We already talked about this one. Ole Miss wins 24-19. Really good, really impressive performance from Trinidad.
All right, number 5, Georgia gets dogged at home against number 17, Alabama. 33-game home win streak gets absolutely snapped.
We got Florida State, number 8. I think we're at number 8 already. We've jumped up. Obviously, UVA takes them down 46-38. Game you can't lose if you're Florida State, dude. Your schedule, that tackling was really bad. If they tackle like that against Miami, they are going to lose and lose badly. So they've got to get that figured out.
10 out of 10 field rush, though. It was electric. 9, A&M defense could have stayed at the hotel. Auburn still would have done exactly what they did. 16-10, big win for Mike Elko moving forward.
Whoever's 10, I think it's Texas. They were on a bye.
Texas Longhorns, baby.
The Texas Longhorns. They were getting some sleep, man. They were getting a bye week. They watched some ball. Don't worry about them Texas Longhorns. They'll be back. They'll be back eventually. They'll be back next week. Texas fans, take a deep breath. I'll break down the Texas football game next week. I did skip a week, but they actually showed some promise the game I skipped. But, yeah. On to the next, baby. Number
11, Indiana Hoosiers. They find a way to win. Fernando Mendoza, 49-yard touchdown to Elijah Surratt with 1:30 left to play to give Indiana a 20-15 win on the road at Iowa. Never easy to play at Iowa against that defense. Signetti called it a gut check and added that it was the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there was a lot more of the bad than there was the ugly. So things to improve on for Indiana. I thought this was hilarious, the end of the game. I don't know if you saw it, but Indiana stopped Iowa on their final possession. Mendoza, to burn off the last few seconds of the game, just took the snap and ran backwards, sprinted all the way to the end zone.
Yeah, that was sick.
I thought it was hilarious. And I want to include a soundbite. We're going to do that this week. He had this to say about that after the game.
I probably, obviously shouldn't be saying this, but I know I probably cook people's spreads and stuff like that. And I really apologize for that. However, in that moment, my goal was to win the game. And at that point, at 0-0, I saw when I was on the 2-yard line. And I just kind of ran to the
People
back.
at 6.5 might not be happy.
Yeah, they definitely weren't happy, and I definitely put my apologies out to them. But for us, we're always looking for the Indiana money line, which is a win.
All right, next up, we're skipping 12 and 13. We already did 12 and 13. We're at 14, Iowa State. Iowa State, man, they're making some noise. They said they're hungry for that Big 12 title. They take down Arizona 39-14. And Noah Fafita, their quarterback at Arizona, still had himself a damn good day, but he was turning the ball over. Can't have that.
Iowa State impressive, putting 200 yards up against the opponent that entered the game first in the country in pass efficiency defense. I thought that was a good one. 15 Tennessee at Mississippi State. An OT thriller, 41-34. Vols stay alive in playoff contention, but got to keep doing work in SEC play.
By the grace of the man upstairs, Georgia Tech squeaked by Wake Forest. The uniform combo was really good, and they were going head-to-head, and Georgia Tech found a way to win 30-29. Then we're skipping 17. 18, we got Vandy. Vandy was in like a dogfight at first, it seemed like, for the first two quarters. First quarter, really. And then Vandy kind of turned it up. Vandy two-turned. They won 55-35 against Utah State. We're skipping 19. We've got Massachusetts and Missouri. Number 20 is Missouri. They won 42-6. I'm still shocked that Massachusetts has a football team. I thought they canceled their football team a few years ago. But shout out Missouri. They good win. Good win.
Tigers keep balling 5-0. They're second in the SEC right now. Number 21, USC versus number 23, Illinois. Illinois up 31-17 early in the fourth quarter. USC took the lead back with a minute 55 left. Illini drove 51 yards. 8 plays to set up a game-winning field goal as time expired, lifting the Illini to a 34-32 win. Trojans hadn't played a ranked team until they faced Illinois. I think you might not like this. I think it's 2 overrated teams in my opinion. But congrats, because the Illini have never beaten Southern California in Champaign before Saturday, so congratulations to the Illini.
Yeah, Illinois kind of got exposed last week, and I was pretty high on Illinois, so my ball knowledge was looking like it was at an all-time low there for a second. Don't worry. They responded. They fought back. Their offensive line looked really good. They were moving people up front. Luke Altmaier played a much better, impressive game. And shout out David Alano. David Alano, Illinois kicker, TND follower. Claps up, baby. We love that.
Let's
we
go.
love to see the TND followers teeing up. So shout out David Alano, hometown hero from Illinois, putting on for the city, kicking that game-winning field goal. He didn't even look nervous, dude. He picked that ball up. He stopped warming up. He knew he was making that thing. And that thing would have been good from like 60+. Did you see the leg on that thing?
Yeah, the knees were not weak and the arms were not sweaty.
Yeah, not at all. What a play by him. And next up, we got number 22, Notre Dame versus Arkansas. They win 56-13. CJ Carr, dog. CJ Carr. They're going to write stories about you one day, CJ Carr. The Notre Dame faithful will write some happy stories about you someday. The amount of joy you're bringing those Notre Dame fans. Just a beautiful, beautiful game. Things you love to see. And sorry to Sam Pittman in Arkansas. Sam Pittman got fired. But see, that's one of those stories where Sam Pittman getting fired isn't because of Sam Pittman. It's because of the people around him and the boosters. What'd you say?
His age.
Yeah, he's too old. No, he's still one of the best offensive line coaches in college football. And whoever gets him as an offensive line coach solely will be the winner of the Sam Pittman sweepstakes.
Sam, I'm just joking. You're not that old. Notre Dame impressive. Obviously, molly-whopping Arkansas. CJ Carr, your boy, didn't even play in the fourth quarter. Arkansas allowed 420 yards in the first half, 643 in the game. Miserable. Not good. 23 Illinois beat USC. Take me to TCU, though.
Oh, snapperdoodles. I'm so sorry. Guys, sorry. TCU was played on Friday. TCU lost to Arizona State. Big game for the Big 12 standings. Those two teams will probably be at the top of them towards the end. Number 24, TCU, Arizona State. Arizona State squeaks by with the win, 27-24. They scored 10 unanswered in the fourth quarter, which kind of was the separating factor for Arizona State in that matchup.
25, BYU rallied, down 14-0 early, 24-21 win on the road at Colorado. Cougars improved to 30-9 when the team is ranked with their head coach, and Colorado moves to 1-7 over the last 2 seasons when they don't score 30 or more points. Other games to note this college football weekend, I can start it off if you'd like. Syracuse got absolutely domed by the Dukies, 38-3. Steven Angeli's absence seems to be hurting the Orange maybe more than we expected because they didn't have much of an offense at all. Darian Mensah, 22 of 28, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nate Shepard on the ground, 15 carries, 168 yards, and 2 scores as well. Good one from the Dudes.
Yeah, some games I wanted to quickly shout out. I got Houston taking out Oregon State. Oregon State's now 0 for 5, and Houston's 4-0. They won with a game-winning field goal. Made a good little comeback in that one to win that game. Scored 14 unanswered in the fourth to kind of put themselves in that conversation there. We talked about Minnesota keeps winning games. They're 3-1, 31-28 win over the Rutgers. And I know which one you're about to say, and it involves the Cardinals, if I'm correct.
I was going to comment on that one just because I was surprised that they came back because they got haymakered in the mouth on the road at Pitt early, down 17 points in the first quarter, 10 points at halftime. Miller Moss didn't look like the guy, but ended up somehow throwing for 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 big ones in the fourth quarter. No points for Pitt in the second half. Cards remain unbeaten, but I was not impressed.
Yeah, big one for the Sawyer Robinson should win the Heisman Co. He threw 24, 35, 393 yards, 4 touchdown passes against Oklahoma State. Yes, Oklahoma State is bad, but that in stat line is still outwardly impressive. You'd be lying if you can't say that's impressive. There was one more game. Utah blew out West Virginia on the road, 48-14. That Utah team's really legit. They're really fun to watch. And I believe that's everything I've got. KSU got a win. Conference USA, go Owls. You don't see that very often. And I think we'd be reminiscent if we didn't shout out Virginia Tech. In an interim head coach game, they wouldn't beat NC State, an NC State team that people thought could make some noise this year. So shout out them. They won 23-21.
They can finally do their little sandstorm thing and not be criticized and ridiculed by me.
Yeah, and their Boise State depleted App State 47-14. So that's a Boise State team that's going to still make some noise this year in terms of Go 5 candidates. And then
big game next week for them.
Last one for me, I'm going to hit on South Carolina, Kentucky. South Carolina won 35-13 on Kentucky. A good response for South Carolina after a bad showing last 2 weeks ago. I think that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So good response for them to start to reignite SEC play.
What a slate. I mean, seriously, what a slate. So many good games. So we've got people to highlight as well. Let's head into the culture check. Which programs do you think showed identity, energy, chemistry from week 4 to week 5? You want to go first?
Yeah, I got it. My culture checks, Ole Miss.
Trinidad.
And I think what they were able to do, Trinidad, that defense. So, yeah, it's going to be Ole Miss for me. And then I also have a culture check for Auburn's defense because Auburn's defense has kept them in 2 games against 2 top 10 teams back-to-back weeks. So shout out that Auburn defense. And I had one more culture check, but I am forgetting it at this exact moment.
It was probably awesome.
It was probably a great culture check. I'm not going to lie. I probably had a great thing to say. Oh, culture check, UVA.
Wow, it's back. It's here.
UVA. It's UVA. UVA, Tony Elliott, culture check. I'm so sorry. I blanked out there for a second. But now you got the reins. What you got for me?
Alabama, I think we would be reminiscent if we didn't mention it. That FSU loss in week 1 seemed to look like the outlier based off their play this week in Saturday night's game. Running the ball great, Ty Simpson in a flow state. Defense was able to get stops. I think for the college football world, the people, that one lady who wanted the lottery ticket so she could buy out Kalen DeBoer, I hope she's doing okay. I think Alabama's in a good spot. Now we just get to watch and enjoy. Alabama looked good to me. All right, let's head into from the culture check to the swagger watch. Who is a player from the week 5 slate that stood out to you that you think could continue to have a very star-studded year?
I've got 4. Okay, Ty Simpson being 1. Ty Simpson, DAWG, DAWG, DAWG. Next up, we've got Ohio State's defense. Ohio State went to Washington and won. That's a really impressive win. Hard to go win at Washington. Washington doesn't lose on the road. And Ohio State defense is legit because Washington also has a damn good quarterback back there. Number 3, I've got CJ Carr because start the car, baby. We're going for a drive. All right. The way he's cooking lately, you got to just appreciate that. And next one, I've got 4 from a loser, but Lemon, the USC wide receiver, when I was watching that game against Illinois, he had himself a big day. I think 2 touchdowns and over 100+ yards. So that was really swaggerful, in my opinion.
Totally. Love those picks. 3 games without starter Austin Simmons. Ole Miss hasn't missed a beat with Trinidad Chambliss. transfer from Ferris State. If you don't know it, Google it. It's been quite the story in college football so far. The Rebs have sunk Arkansas, Tulane, LSU with this dude averaging 10 yards a pass, counted for 7 touchdowns and just 1 turnover. That was my big one. And my second one, the Louisville ball boy. I don't know if you saw that, but he was not going to let that slide. Panther defensive back intercepts the football, takes it to the sideline, started floundering with the football. And if you're a ball boy, you know you don't do that. Pitt players trying to make a Euro step, shoot the ball into the stands. But my man Z says not today. Fighting like he's on the front lines. An absolute unit. He posted to Twitter after the game. He said, in case y'all are wondering, we got that ball back and took home a dub. Go Cards, baby. So that's my hero of the game, best player offensively for the Cardinals all week long. Let's keep it a buck. What a play by my man.
I'm going to steal this one from you for a second because that ball boy, I saw that tweet, right? And guess what? I clicked on his profile and it said, follows you. Shout out that damn ball boy that follows TND. Way to get that damn ball back, boy.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Shout out to my man Z.
That got me
Shout
going.
out to my man
That was
Z.
really cool to see.
I love it. He was not going to let that slide. Ball boy, that goes against the religion. All right, let's head to the flip-flop pick. Confess one prediction you were dead wrong about after week 5. I'll be honest, I thought there was no more water in the pail for Kansas State after losing to Army in Arizona back-to-back weeks. They had the Ireland game curse. I counted them out. I did, I'll be honest. The UCF Knights came in off a trouncing of Bill Belichick's Tar Heels 34-9. Traven Jackson's on a roll. 2 backs with over 220 rushing yards each. They were going to dance. Well, tango canceled. Kansas State, they found their stride. Avery Johnson threw for 168 yards, 2 tuds. Dylan Edwards ran for 166 yards and another score. Kansas State held on to beat UCF 34-20 for its first Big 12 win of the new season.
My flop this week was Georgia. Unfortunate. I put it at one of my hot takes that they'd win by double digits, but I didn't think that was actually going to happen. But I did think they were going to win the game by at least a field goal, and that didn't happen. So that's my flop this week. I invested in Georgia and Kirby Smart, and clearly that money was not invested properly because it should have been invested in Tim Keenan, Ty Simpson, and Jam Miller. So, yeah.
At least it's not in the booster program. We found out in today's episode that's kind of a waste of bread.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the best games on the schedule next week for week 6. Let's break them down. There's plenty of good ones. Another good week of college football. Let's start where College Game Day is heading. Vanderbilt at ranked Alabama. We're about to witness a top 25 battle between ranked Alabama and ranked Vanderbilt football for the first time since 1937. God bless.
Yeah, that's going to be a damn good game. I'm looking forward to the Michigan-Wisconsin game. Quick rundown on that. I think that's going to be a really good game. Georgia-Kentucky. There's not a spread for that game yet, which is a little weird. I don't know what Vegas is cooking up right now, but there's not even a spread for that game. Texas-Florida. Texas 7.5-point favorites. I'm excited for that game. That'll be a really, really good game. Penn State, UCLA. You mentioned. Excuse me.
Whoa! I can take over. Give me a game. What game were you going to say here, G?
Penn State, UCLA.
Penn State, UCLA. It's going to be an absolute bye week for Penn State. More games on the schedule here. West Virginia at ranked BYU. I hope you're okay. You look all right. Ranked Iowa State playing Cincinnati, coming off a good win for them over Kansas. Clemson at North Carolina, the battle of the overhyped. Air Force at Navy, part of the Commander-in-Chief Trophy competition. Round robin series between the 3 military academies. Boise State at Notre Dame should be a good one. Another solid team at home for Notre Dame. And then I think my game of the week, I wasn't even going to go Vandy, Alabama. I was actually going to say Miami at Florida State. I think that is going to be an awfully good game. 79,000 people in the Doak. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, the most underrated game of the day is Texas Tech Houston. 2 undefeated teams, 2 Texas teams. Keep an eye on that game. That game's at 6. Texas Tech's favored by 12.5, led by Baron Morton, a Heisman candidate quarterback. So that's going to be a good game. And then Mississippi State, A&M, the way Mississippi State's playing, I think A&M will handle Mississippi State pretty easily just because their defense is so stout. But we'll see. And then Minnesota, Ohio State, never say never. Maybe the Gophers can press go on offense. So, but yeah, overall it'll be an exciting week of football. I think we touched on every kind of game. Illinois, Purdue. Obviously, if you're Illinois, you need to win that game. Can't afford to lose that one. Iowa State, Cincinnati. Actually, fun fact: Cincinnati's favored by 1.5 right now against Iowa State.
Bearcats
at Cincy.
Scott
so yeah, something to keep an eye on there. And yeah, there's the week 6. That's week. Is that week 6? Here's the week 6
Next
rundown.
week is week 6.
Yeah, that's week 6. Yeah.
Is it not crazy that we're already like really into the guts and glory? And
No, bro, I don't want to think about it. Please stop. Don't make me think
this
about
is the best part. I'm happy to think about it. We're like in the nuts and bolts here. This is good stuff.
See, all I think about is that we're getting closer to the off season. Okay, that's what scares me about this. But it's okay. We gotta enjoy the moment.
In the off season.
Enjoy the moment. We gotta
And we
enjoy the
certainly
moment and
are.
where we are right now. And college football in its form right now is an amazing product. So I think we all just have to appreciate that. It's one of the fastest growing sports, if not the fastest growing sport in the world. It is the fastest growing sport in America by far, bar none. Football as a whole is growing, and grow the game of football, because the more you grow the game of football, the more eyes you can get on the sport. And I think college football has done an amazing job at marketing itself. And to be honest, the product is so good that it markets itself.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't have to do much work. It kind of does it on its own.
Yep.
And as we thank college football community for watching games on the weekends and turning up the energy for the sport, we also want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Invincible, covering week 5 of the college football season. You know where you can find it: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a video version on YouTube with clips all over social media. If you don't follow, you're living under a rock. Get with it. Canyon, my man, I was happy to have you back this week. I was solo in Miami last week. The fact that I was in Miami made it kind of fun, but it is happy to have my twin back with me, man.
Yeah, no, it was an honor. Thanks for having me on here. I'll be back every Sunday, guys. This is my routine with this boy Vince. I love you guys. All right, give you the Jeremiah love sign. All right. What an inspirational story he had on game day. We're not going to get into that right now, but man, just a really inspirational game day all around. Shout out College Game Day. Amazing product that they put on our TVs this week. Shout out all the production crew, everything that goes into it. Wait. We got to shout out each other and thank the viewers, but we also got to thank everybody that makes college football the way it is, from the producers to the people. All you guys are the real MVPs, and you guys put an amazing product for us to watch on TV. Even the producers of the A&M Auburn game, though you maybe want to punch my TV, I was still very glad that you guys were putting out a great product for us to watch.
I'm thankful
Amen.
for just how many networks are out there producing college football. TNT got in on the action this year. We're seeing some on the CW. We got it on Peacock. We got it all over the place. There's so much football.
Some on USA channel. I was like, what is happening here?
Can't be.
Everybody wants a piece of this pie. All right.
Soon you're going to get Disney Channel and Cartoon Network college football, and we're going to be throwing slime, and it's going to be awfully interesting.
That'll be the game changer.
Another great week of college football, and we can't thank you enough for tuning in. Alongside Canyon Sheeran, my name is Vince Wolfram. This has been Invincible.